And the funniest memory that I have of Shaheed's zeal and enthusiasm to stay fit was, imagine this, for breakfast, the guy would crack two eggs into a glass of milk, whip it up, and go straight like bottoms up. And this was probably, I think, when we were
Yeah.
15 years old or something. This
And
guy
no, I
used to
still
be.
do that. I still do that. I've just increased the number of eggs, but I still do that.
Greetings, Jambo, Habari Yako, and welcome to another amazing and this time healthy and fit episode of Humans and Happiness, where we catch up with happy humans like you to get your hacks and habits of how you lead an everyday happier life. I know I say this about all my episodes that they're so special to me, but this one is close to the heart because it's brought me back to my mother country, or where the country I was born and raised. I'm connecting with a very dear, or rather one of my best friends, Shaheed, all the way from Kenya, Mombasa in Africa. For those of you viewers who may not be aware, that's where I've spent my childhood years, and that's where home still is for me. Shaheed and myself grew up together in school, and we've had some really crazy times together. I couldn't have been happier bringing this episode to you, wherein I get to connect with my best friend and get his views on today's topic. Is all about staying fit to stay happy. And the funniest memory that I have of Shahid's zeal and enthusiasm to stay fit was, imagine this, for breakfast, the guy would crack two eggs into a glass of milk, whip it up, and go straight like bottoms up. And this was probably, I think, when we were 15 years old or something. This
And
guy
no, I
used to
still
be.
do that. I still do that. I've just increased the number of eggs, but I still do that.
How many eggs do you do now?
Dude, I reached a stage where I was doing 10 eggs.
Wow.
But I'm down to about 3, 4. It depends on what sort of goal I have for
Right.
that particular period of time. So
Right.
I still do that. I think it's best natural. So
We're chatting to Shahid, who is a self-disciplined and self-taught fitness guru. I take him as a fitness guru. Like I said, from a very earlier stage, other than what was available on TV, because we didn't have internet at that time. Shahid used to be my fit. I mean, it wasn't like I became fit, but yes, if you asked about someone who motivated me to be fit was Shahid. And because he connects with both worlds, he's someone who's very content, who's very joyous with his life. He leads and his own professional life. He's a successful pharmacist and a project manager in Kenya. Leads a beautiful family life with a beautiful son, wife, parents. So I've always seen Shahid as someone who's got every single field well balanced, and in all of this, he still finds time to go to the gym and build those muscles, which I asked him if he could show us a little bit of pose and all of that, but maybe later.
I didn't get the spotlight. So
So Shahid, we'll start off with, tell us the story of Shaheed.
it started from a very, very young age. I was always a little bit shy, very timid. That sort of, when I think about it in retrospect now, a lot of it was to do with my body image. I was very skinny. I was a little bit dark because of swimming and being in the sun all the time. So, of course, then came the influence of media, and I started seeing, these men's health magazines, and I was like, wow, this, I would love to look like that. And since I was very shy, I couldn't actually go up to my parents and tell them that, look, I want to start working out. I want to go to the gym. So what I used to do is I used to pack my rucksack, my school bag, with like these heavy physics and biology textbooks, and then I would like do bicep curls. and push-ups and things like that. And then my brother actually noticed my interest in weightlifting, and he uh, went and told my dad that this guy does weightlifting at home with books. So we were members of sports club, and my dad got me enrolled into the gym, and it's been awesome. From then, I haven't looked back. Uh, it's been a continuous journey. I mean, there has been on and off moments, uh, but I went on to university. Then I was an instructor there for about 2 years of my university life, my third year and fourth year, and when I got back to Kenya, it just carried on. Uh, so that's sort of how my story, my journey into fitness started. Um, Now, your more difficult question of how I want my story to end. Does anyone really want their story to end? Like you said, that if you were one person who took some sort of inspiration, um, I would actually love if my son or somebody close to me, just took that sort of inspiration from my lifestyle. And even if they applied just part of it, um, then I'll consider that my story never ended. It just went on, carried on through somebody else. And I think that would be beautiful. That would be a perfect ending, right?
That is I think the most selfless end to one story, wherein you're not just wanting to impact someone's life, but you want your story to continue. Okay, so something that I ask everyone, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself on how happy are you?
Um, okay, so on average, I would say between a 7 and an 8.
Right.
I mean, I don't think there's anyone who can be a 10, because you're essentially asking me to draw a graph of my timeline against how happy I am. So, of course, I've had bad days, bad weeks where you're not very happy, but generally, I believe I'm fairly happy.
And what do you think would take you to 10? The lottery?
No, that's probably the last thing, actually. Um, for me, I think being happiest is when I'm with my family, when I'm at home.
Right.
That is when I feel like I'm a 10. That's because your family is your safe place. Your home is your safe area. That's where you can let all the guards down. Uh, so when I'm with family, that's when I'm happiest. There are a lot of times when I feel like I'm a 10 when I'm cycling, for example. I'm just alone on the road, and that's early in the morning. It's beautiful. Times when I'm with my closest friends, and we're having a great conversation. That's But also times when we're having absolutely meaningless conversation just for a laugh. That also brings me up to a 10.
So how do you, on a regular basis, how do you keep yourself happy? Is there some conscious activity, or is there some routine? Is there anything that you do in a day, in a week, to keep yourself happy consciously?
You see, it's important. Like for me, physical fitness has become a lifestyle. It's no longer a chore. It's no longer a requirement, or that I have to go, or I have to do this. It's just part of my life. There is no other way. There is absolutely no other way. There's no shortcut. You just have to work extremely hard if you want to achieve success.
And look at the joy that he's talking about now. I mean, that gives you genuine joy, genuine satisfaction with yourself after achieving results, after a level of hard work. And in the process, even if, look, sometimes you're faced with very dire circumstances where even after an amount of hard work, you don't achieve that result. Fair, we're all faced with that. However, the level of physical and mental satisfaction that you went through in the process of working hard itself has made you a stronger, more versatile person, because you work, you evolve your mind and your heart to the next stage in that hard work itself. So even if the outcome or the result was not as desired. What you don't realize is for yourself, you've grown as a person. You've become mentally stronger. You've become emotionally better. You can handle
Definitely.
those drops and dumps in life. So
100%.
the way Shahid prescribed that there is no other way than hard work. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Looking at the world around you today, what are some areas that pain you immensely?
What areas pain me? Okay, so if I look at it from a pharmacist's point of view,
Right,
um, there is this over reliance on pharmaceuticals,
right,
uh, and I've seen that across several age groups, where diabetes. Okay, there's just one pill a day. It's fine.
right.
Same thing with hypertension. I just have to take one pill a day. It's easier. All this is easier than for somebody to, uh, get themselves involved in some form of physical activity.
Right,
I'm still a very, very strong believer in preventive medicine.
right.
And of course, there are limitations. I mean, you wouldn't advise someone to do lifestyle modification if they have a very high BP or
Sure.
they're seriously diabetic. Uh, but I'm talking about people who are coming in, young guys who are coming in with a bit of, deranged. For example, their lipid profile is slightly deranged, or their blood sugar is only very slightly above the normal, and uh, they would prefer going on medication than adopting a healthier lifestyle. A friend of mine, one of the friends that I cycle with, said this very well. He said, "What you do in your 20s and 30s is going to reflect in your 40s and 50s."
Absolutely.
And I think if you think about that, it's so true that you will see people who have maintained a healthy lifestyle. They will not look 50 to you, and
100%.
they'll be able to do things that maybe someone who is in his early 30s but has been on his couch for pretty much throughout his 20s will not be able to do.
So someone
So,
who's on their, in fact, I'm glad you brought up that point. So say, imagine someone's watching this episode and gets inspired by this episode, and they're like, you know what, I need to get out of that couch, right? I've been on the couch, or I've had a somewhat unhealthy, or not, I don't have any form of fitness that I'm into. What would be your advice to them as to what's the easiest and the best way to get out, and what's the first few things they can do?
um, okay, first, it's not going to be easy. If
Right.
you've spent the better part of your life on the couch, making that change is not going to be easy. Uh, Trust me, any form of physical activity is painful. You're going to be sore the next day, especially if you haven't done any sort of activity over several years or months. Um, so, what my advice would be: do something you love. If you enjoy playing some sort of sport, get back into the sport. To do it with somebody who has the same goal.
Right.
Okay, get a partner. If you're going for a walk, go out with your spouse, go out with your friend. Uh, Someone who can motivate you to keep it going, and do it at a time that you are comfortable with. A lot of people will say, you know what, I'm going to start working out tomorrow, and I'm going to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And how long is that going to last? Your entire life you've been waking up at 7 o'clock. Um, unless you have extremely strong willpower, it's not going to last very long. Apart from the physical activity, you need to change your diet. You need to change your nutrition. You need to start eating healthier.
Beautiful. So basically, is start simple, start small, keep it practical. Wake up at choose a practical time. Ensure you've got some companion or a buddy to keep yourself
Yeah,
motivated, and most
yeah,
importantly, get out there and do something that you'd like. Don't make overly, big, hairy, audacious
yeah,
goals.
yeah,
Don't make those crazy
yeah.
goals for yourself to start with. Right, Shaheed, that's been a beautiful, I'd rather say insightful conversation. And that brings us to our last and my personal favorite segment of the episode, the
This
quick
is a segment that
fire.
makes me the most nervous.
The quick fire five, wherein I'm going to ask you five five where I'm going to ask you 5 questions in a quick rapid fire format, and I'd like you to answer them in the quickest way possible, which is either a word or a sentence at most. So Shaheed, are you ready for your quick fire 5?
Let's try.
Let's go for it then. So, number 1, would you rather be healthy or happy?
Healthy.
Would you rather have a bank account full of money or 1,000 friends on Facebook?
Bank account full of money, man. I'd rather have a handful of very close friends than 1,000 friends on Facebook. But yeah, in those options, I would choose the money.
Wonderful. And that's why the Facebook was there. Trick question, but wonderfully answered. Right. Here's another one for you. An hour in the gym or a night out with friends?
That's a difficult one. A night out with friends.
Nice. What is the one piece of advice you would give to your 16-year-old self?
There's no shortcut to life. It's just hard work.
Right. Wonderful.
Yeah.
If you had one wish to be able to help people in the world, how or what would you do with that wish? What would you want to happen?
I would wish people would hear this conversation and take inspiration from whatever we've discussed in terms of living a healthy a lifestyle.
Perfect answer. And I think if
I took a while to answer that.
No, but I would wish the same, that this episode gets at least 1,000 followers or whatever. I mean, people like the thing that you said at the start, that if it could even help transform and motivate one life or more, we want more, but yeah, even one life,
we will have achieved our goal.
Absolutely. Wow, Shaheed, that has been wonderful. Thank you so much for all of the wisdom that you shared. And like I said, the thing that you said at the start is something that stays with me, is what you wanted in how your story to end, that let that story not end, but let it be a legacy that continues to inspire and motivate other people. That was, I think, our caption for the story continues. Caption for
story should continue. Yes.
This.